Good evening and welcome to 10's big game here at Penrith Park. I'm Graham McNeice, filling in for a rather sick Ray Warren, who's at home in bed. Ray has fallen victim to the current epidemic of the virus which has hit Sydney. I hope you're better shortly, Rabs, and you're back with us next weekend. Well, I think you're in for a match that you're going to enjoy. It's between the local side Penrith and Cronulla. Cronulla don't have an imposing record here at Penrith Park, but they're out to atone for all that. It's going to be a great match. Keith Barnes joins me as the players take the field.
The Panthers taking the field now, led by their skipper, Darryl Broman, and particularly confident side, and they have every reason to be too, because they scored a pretty good win last week over the Steelers down at Wollongong, and they have an impressive record against Cronulla here at Penrith Park. On camera at the moment was Craig McAlpine, a player in the halfback spot they've got from Brisbane this year, a particularly talented player and one that Penrith have big hopes for. The team, Levy, McMahon, Wright, Flay, Wolf, Izzard, another very promising 5'8". McAlpine, a good pack of forwards with Fenton, Platts, Zivanovic, Broman, Simmons and Jones. That's a pretty well-balanced pack. They've got Broman, of course, a very talented ball player. Luke Platts, a strong runner. And Zivanovic, a player who thrives on his defence. McAlpine on camera at the moment from the Brothers Club. Very talented player. In the middle we have Steve Rogers and Darryl Broman for the toss. And the Cronulla team on at the moment, Mullane, Jarvie, Rogers, Gardner, Burke, Forrest, Haddock, Nixon, Sorensen, the great Kurt Sorensen, Hatch, his brother Dane, Roland Beckett and McNamara. On camera at the moment, the player that we're spotting, Perry Haddock, the 1980 Country Player of the Year in his second season with Cronulla. Very talented player, one of the shortest players in the game, but certainly adds a lot of spark to this Cronulla side.
Referee Chris Ford for tonight's match as Rogers kicks off well into Penrith territory. And running the ball up to the quarter mark there was Craig McMahon. And there's a penalty straight away. Penalty against Cronulla. And Levy comes up to the quarter to find touch. Well, I said earlier on, Keith, that Cronulla didn't have an imposing record here at Penrith Park. They certainly don't, because they haven't won since, what, 1978, I believe.
No, but they're in pretty good form. They had a good win against Balmain last week, and there's a lot of great players in the side. Probably a bit more class than in the Penrith side. Certainly Steve Rogers, arguably the best centre or the best rugby league player in the world at the moment, and the Sorensen brothers in the pack. But Penrith starting off with, you know, in great heart at this stage.
Okay, Platts has taken a tackle there with the ball inside the Cronulla territory. The ball is fed out now, this time to Jones, rather to the hooker Simmons. That was small for hooker, isn't he?
Yes, he is very nuggety and gets Penrith a good share of possession. The player in possession at the moment, Fenton, is also a very talented player.
Okay, Fenton gets up, plays the ball back to Levy at dummy half. He turns it to Broman. Broman turns the ball back inside there to Jamie Jones as the referee signifies last tackle. Ball sped out across the back line, and kicking forward there is Brad Izzard, and it finds touch. Good kick there by Izzard. And a scrum will form inside the Cronulla quarter. It's still 0-0. We're only seconds into the first half. Okay, Haddock feeds this scrum. And it's a Cronulla ball, but the penalty has ruled, but the referee has ruled a penalty against Penrith. And coming up to find touch is Rogers. And he goes just outside the Cronulla quarter. Now to take the tap is Beckett. Turns it back to Sorensen. Sorensen barging forward and is eventually brought down. Turns the ball back inside, back to his brother Sorensen. He looks to offload, and he regained possession. Okay, the ball's fed across the back line. This time it's out to Nixon. He's eventually brought down. Haddock tries to go his own, but to no avail. Okay, we've got Beckett with the ball. Just outside the halfway mark on Cronulla side. Cronulla on the attack. The player there, question. David Hatch tackled around the head. Now Haddock endeavours to find touch, and he does so. Nice kick forward there by Haddock, and the scrum will form just outside the Penrith quarter. This time it's a penalty to Cronulla, and it's against the halfback for Penrith, Craig McAlpine. Incorrect feed.
I don't think there was too much about that either, Graham. It was obviously testing the referee out and see his reaction to that, because he would be well advised to make sure that he puts the ball in straight in situations like this, because Cronulla have a lot of good set plays from attacking plays from areas such as this, and most of them involve big Kurt Sorensen and his brother Dane.
Speaking of Sorensen, he goes hard to the line. He's only a metre out, taps forward and tries to over, but the referee has ruled penalty against Sorensen, and a penalty to Penrith this time.
Yes, he ruled incorrect playing of the ball there, and it was certainly a welcome relief for Penrith. Just got a feeling that there's going to be a lot of kicking in this game, tactical kicking, I mean. Both teams well equipped in this department, of course. Penrith particularly well equipped with Mark Levy, Broman, Izzard and McAlpine. And I should imagine that Levy and McAlpine in particular will be looking to keep Cronulla's fullback, Mick Mullane, back into his own territory, because when he's allowed to get up into the back line, he can be a very dangerous attacking player.
Okay, Zabanovic plays the ball now. Fed out across the back line, and this time to the centre play. He fought down just outside. Or the quarter there. Penalty against Cronulla. Allowing the player to get up. And also he's penalising a further 10 metres for back chatting.
Yes, referee Ward establishing his authority very early in this game. It'll be good if he does continue to penalise the players, laying all over the man playing the ball, allowing the player of the ball to get up very quickly. And of course he's already let Cronulla know in particular now that he won't stand any back chat. And I'm sure that Darryl Broman will have noticed that and will be curbing his players in that area.
Okay, Penrith on the attack this time as Simmons has got the ball. He turns it back to McAlpine, and he makes valuable ground before he's tackled. Ball is out now to Jones. He turns it back across the line. It's eventually gone out to Fenton. Fenton back out to Platt, still going Platt, but he's brought down just outside the Cronulla quarter. It's still 0-0. Back to Levy. Turns it back to McAlpine. Jones. Oh, the bones back out to McAlpine. The ball out to Fenton. Fenton still going. Fenton looks for support, can't get the ball away. Still going is Fenton. He's up, and he's brought down about 5 metres out from the Cronulla goal mouth. Penrith looking dangerous here. Izzard, it's back to Broman. He looks inside to Jones. Jones turns it back outside. It's gone across the back line. Here's danger. Back to Izzard. He's held up only inches out from the goal line. Last tackle against Penrith. Oh, back to Broman. Broman goes hard for the line, but he's held up. And Penrith starting to look good in these early stages.
Yes, certainly, and plenty of pressure applied by Penrith. They actually, I felt, got over the line there on 2 occasions, only to be pushed back before the player could go on the ball. But I just harken back to a situation where Fenton was pulled down by Mullane just sort of 5 yards from the line. He looked effectively tackled to my mind, but he was able to get up and continue his momentum and got back into the play. And of course this is an area where the referee has to be very careful, because if Mullane lays all over the tackle player, well then he's penalised for not allowing him to get up, and then in a situation like that he could have been getting off him, and then of course we saw Fenton get up very quickly.
First take play up to the Cronulla quarter. Back outside to McNamara, and he eventually offloads to Nixon, who's brought down. Okay, Sorensen with the ball now. McNamara's a big fellow.
Yes, he is. A good worker, very solid in the middle of the rucks and takes the ball up well. Doesn't work the ball probably as much as Greg Pearce would like, not at this stage anyhow, but he's a good partner for Dane Sorensen. I'm particularly impressed with Penrith, though, at this early stage, because they are standing very, very deep in attack and switching the point of the attack, moving onto the ball with plenty of purpose, and they are looking good.
Okay, this time it's a Cronulla ball. That's back to Mullane. And Mullane is brought down midway between the quarter and the half, Cronulla side of the ground. Ball is out this time to David Hatch. Back to McNamara, and in turn to Jarvie. And the play over the halfway mark now. It's back to Haddock, to Sorensen. Sorensen brought down 10 metres into Penrith territory. Holden Beckett turns it back to Haddock. And this time it's back out to Nixon. Still going with the ball, Nixon. Last tackle picked up there from the dummy half was Beckett. And Beckett is eventually brought down at last tackle. 0-0. Play about to restart with this scrum just outside the Penrith quarter. Digging scrum, Calfine with the Cronulla ball. It's back to Haddock. Oh, a heavy tackle, Haddock there by Blizzard. It's up okay. The ball's back this time out to Nixon. He turns it to Sorensen. And they're being bustled up here, Cronulla. Back to Hatch. Hatch is brought down at 5 metres out from the Penrith quarter. Back outside to McNamara. He turns to offload, gets a long pass along the ground to Haddock. He floats one out to Mullane. Mullane looks to offload, but can't do so. Right, Rogers this time. It's out to Sorensen. Sorensen going hard, still going. And he's taken play up to the quarter as the referee signals last tackle.
Penrith taking a little while to put Dan Sorensen to the ground.
All right, this time it's out to Ricky Burke. And there's the end of 6 tackles, and a scrum will form just outside or just inside the Penrith quarter.
We have a situation here where both touches are in, reporting an incident to referee Ward. Darryl Brome and the Penrith skipper being called up and spoken to.
A few words of warning there, obviously given to Brayman, and the scrum will pack down. Okay, McAlpine feeds the scrum, and it's a Penrith ball. Back to Warren Fenton. McAlpine, Blizzard. Goes straight, but doesn't make any ground, and is met there by Greg Nixon and also David Hatch. Now, the ball is out this time to Jamie Jones, front rower. Back now. Broman floats one outside to the centre right. So he's well tackled by Ian Forrest. This time it's out to Zavanovic. And the Penrith have made no ground. They're still at the quarter mark. Pass back to Levy. Levy kicks one downfield. Just over halfway, but it's picked up by Burke. Juggles it, gets it back to Mullane. Mullane through one tackle. He's still going. And he's eventually brought down by Jamie Jones around the leg. Okay, it's back to Beckett. He makes about 1 or 2 metres, and he's brought down. Haddock. No. Still goes on his own, Haddock, and brought down over the top there by Lou Platt. Sorensen. Sami looks for McNamara. Oh, and McNamara is well put down on the legs there by Simmons. Sorensen on the burst again. Oh, gets a lovely pass. But it's referee has called out.
Well, Jamie Jones went in particularly high there on Big Kurt Sorensen, and it doesn't come as any surprise that he's getting a talking to from the referee Ward. Of course, Kurt Sorensen obviously is going to attract plenty of attention from this Penrith defence, and I noticed that on a couple of occasions now, young Perry Haddock has been hoping to benefit from that special attention to Sorensen by throwing a dummy to the big fella lurking up on the outside and hoping to scheme his own way through. But up to this stage, anyhow, Penrith hasn't fallen for that trick. But from that caution, of course, is the resultant penalty to Cronulla, with Steve Rogers in a very kickable position for a player of his ability. As I said earlier, Rogers probably the most valuable rugby league player in the world today. A wonderful skipper, a brilliant attacking player, a top defensive player, and a great goal kicker. What more can you ask in a rugby league footballer?
Yes, up until today, he scored 1,075 points in premiership matches, and another 2 possibly coming up as he moves in. And it's no risk. Straight between the posts, so Cronulla has gone to the lead. They lead Penrith by 2 points to 0 in Penn's big game at Penrith Park.
Cronulla lead 2 points to nil.
Restart of play by McAlpine. Down to Jarvie. Takes it cleanly up towards the quarter, and he's brought down. Beckett this time now. Out to Chris Gardner. It's about the first time we've seen Chris Gardner in the action today. Beckett at dummy half now. Sorensen. Beckett sends it out to David Hatch. Turn to Nixon. He's tackled. Hatch in the dummy half. Up the blind side. Cronulla making ground towards the halfway mark. 2 points to nil in favour of Cronulla. The ball is eventually fed back to Rogers, and he's met head-on there by Brayman. Back to Sorensen. Back to his brother Kurt. Kurt Sorensen offloads to Haddock. Oh, and there's trouble out here between Sorensen and also Warren Fenton, and the touch judges in from the far side.
Yes, there's a little bit of stick developing in the game at the moment. Kurt Sorensen in particular being a little resentful of the tackle there from Fenton, and he retaliated, and of course has incurred the wrath again of the touch judge as well as the referee. Very, very humid and sticky out there this afternoon, and the game at this stage, after some 15 minutes or so, has been played at a cracker pace. Handling has been good, both in controlling the ball. Penrith probably a little bit more adventuresome in attack, but the penalty has gone to Cronulla on this occasion.
Okay, well, Rogers now to find touch. He does that 10 metres into Penrith territory. Okay, Cronulla on the attack this time. And with the ball, McNamara. Back at a dummy half. It's back to Hatch, dummies. Makes 1 or 2 metres. Brought down by Brayman. It's Beckett now to Haddock. Haddock looks for Mullane. And Mullane is driven into the ground there by Wright. Back to Sorensen, Dane Sorensen. Up towards the quarter, they make valuable ground in Cronulla. Beckett now. Haddock turns it back outside to Forrest. Last tackle. Haddock at dummy half. Turns it to McNamara. He turns offload. The ball's knocked forward, and it's picked up for Penrith there by Zavanovic. Ball spread out now to Brayman. Quick passing here by Penrith. Coming inside there is Wright. But he's well held there by Jarvie.
Both Levy and Brayman doing well to get the pass away there, and the Penrith Cronulla defence that was moving up very quickly. I'm just a little bit surprised that Penrith are electing to play the game in their territory, because they've got, as I said earlier, a couple of good tactical kickers. And certainly when Levy cleared the line a little bit earlier, it wasn't a very good clearing kick.
Okay, Brayman kicks forward touch, and it's a good one. He finds touch just on the Cronulla side of halfway. 2 points to nil in favour of Cronulla over Penrith. And we're just nearly 23 minutes into the first half.
I'm sure the Penrith forwards appreciated that touch finder from Brayman. It's a lot easier gaining 50 yards that way than having to slog their way upfield.
Okay, to Rogers this time. It's back outside now to Nixon. He finds, eventually gone to Gardner, and he takes play up to the quarter. Cronulla could be dangerous here. Rogers, he floats one out to Burke. Oh, but beautifully tackled there by his opposite number, McMahon. Sorensen back to Beckett.
Cronulla have a 4-1 advantage in the scrums with penalties 4 apiece at this stage. The score 2 points to nil in favour of Cronulla after 18 minutes.
Sorensen, Dane Sorensen with the ball as the referee signals last tackle against Cronulla. Haddock. And the drills knock on, so it's scrum will form on the, or just right on the quarter mark in Penrith territory. 2 points to nil, still in favour of Cronulla. Now he's asked for another speed of the scrum there by McAlpine. And the penalty to Cronulla. Penalty to Cronulla, right in front.
A differential penalty, Graham, where they can't kick for goal anyhow, but it's a little bit surprising. I think there's a lot of experience in that Penrith front row with two hookers. It's the third differential penalty in the game. Jamie Jones, of course, a very experienced hooker in the prop forward position this afternoon, partnering Royce Simmons. It's not doing them much good at the moment, trailing 4 scrums to 1.
Okay, Cronulla on the attack this time. It's back to Haddock. McNamara out to Burke. Still going. He's only about 3 metres out from the goal mouth. Beckett, Rogers. Turns it to Sorensen. Sorensen gets it one way to Gardner. Gardner back to Sorensen. He floats it back to Nixon. Oh, well picked up there by Hatch. 6 more, says the referee. Hatch plays the ball back to Jarvie. Haddock across to Forrest evades that tackle. He's still going for it. Haddock at dummy half. Out to Sorensen. Back to McNamara. He stands in the tackle. Beckett to Sorensen. Sorensen going hard. Oh, he's about a metre out.
That's good hand on defence there from Broman, marshalling his defence very quickly because there were a few gaps appearing.
Haddock this time. Dummies. Still going Haddock. 5 tackles. Last tackle against Cronulla. In front of the post, and he's going hard there from the dummy half. Was Beckett, but Beckett is brought down, so it's the end of 6, and the referee has ruled time off for injury to a Penrith player. 2 points to nil, still in favour of Cronulla against Penrith. Scrum down now, and it's the Penrith ball. Picked up there by McAlpine. Jones the dummy half. It's back out to Fenton. Fenton makes about 3 or 4 metres. Tackled by Sorensen. Gizzard. Back across to Levy. Out to right. He knocks the ball forward. Here's danger. Sorensen picks it up well, and he's brought down about 12 metres out from the Penrith line. Beckett back to Hatch. Hatch through 1 and 2 tackles and brought down by Broman. Tap forward, goes his own Hatch, and he's about a metre out. Beckett at dummy half. Back to Haddock. Out to Forrest to Rogers. Rogers looks to offload. Oh, he's given it back to McCann. McCann's making valuable ground for Penrith, and he's brought down midway between the quarter and half on Penrith's side. 2 points to nil in favour of Cronulla over Penrith. And there's a penalty to Penrith. Cronulla well offside, and penalty to Penrith.
And during all this, of course, this action, we've had Penrith hooker Royce Simmons receiving attention in the Penrith in-goal area, but certainly the very timely intercept there by Craig McMahon when Cronulla were looking extremely dangerous. Simmons, after treatment from the Penrith trainer, has resumed his taking his place on the field and appears to be pretty well okay. He has the ball now, moving up to take this tap.
All right, the ball is fed out to Zavanovic eventually. Oh, he's through that tackle. He's still going, Zavanovic, up towards the Cronulla quarter. Brought down there by Haddock. Now back to Broman. Quick passing here to Lou Platt. Goes down the left flank. McMahon at dummy half. Back to Flay. He makes little or no territory play. Brought down by Rogers. Back to McAlpine, and he knocks it on.
Bad mistake at that particular stage because it looked as if Penrith were starting to mount a little bit of pressure on the Cronulla defence. Cronulla looked a couple of minutes ago as if they were going to take charge of the game. They had a couple of opportunities for tries, got close to the line, but were pushed back by some determined Penrith defence, and now Penrith in possession again.
Levy with the ball this time. Back to Flay's brought down. McAlpine back to Fenton and turn to front row. Jones is brought down. Now Penrith on the attack. Dizzard sends it back out. Quick passing out to Kenny Wolf. But the penalty referee has ruled a penalty to Cronulla.
He ruled the pass forward from Fenton to Wolf. But what a brilliant little piece of play by Izzard. He really scorched through that. There he goes, through that Cronulla defence. Picked up Fenton. And unfortunately for Penrith, that pass from Fenton to Wolf was ruled forward.
Rogers finds touch just inside the Cronulla quarter. Sorensen now tries to barge his way through the Penrith forwards, makes some ground. Eventually the ball is played back now to Gardner. Gardner's tackled. Beckett now to Nixon. Haddock, Sorensen. Still going Sorensen, gets a long pass for Burke. He's beautifully tackled by McMahon. Rogers to Haddock. Haddock looks to kick forward. That's well taken by Levy. And Levy is brought down about 10 metres out from the halfway. Broman to Zavanovic. He's met by the Cronulla forward. This time it's out to Platt. Gets the pass away, a nice pass too, out to Jones.
Haven't seen enough of Platts in these opening 25 minutes as far as Penrith are concerned. I'd be looking for him coming into the play just on the edge of the ruck, but apart from a few bursts, he's been pretty quiet.
There's the ball well taken by Flay. He finds McMahon. McMahon comes infield, and he's met there by Mullane and also Nixon. Simmons now.
Blake Craig McMahon, plenty of pace. He played in City Seconds last year and one of the up-and-coming youngsters in Sydney football.
Levy's brought down there. Simmons a dummy half. He turns it to Jones, back to Platt. Oh, knocks it on there, Rod Wright. The referee has ruled a knock-on and brought play back just outside the Cronulla quarter. Still 2-0 in favour of Penrith over Cronulla. And we've got just about 13 minutes left in this first half. Feeds the scrum, and it's eventually out to Nixon. Back to Forrest. Forrest straightens up the attack, and he's brought down eventually there by Platt. Beckett now back to Jarvie. Still going Jarvie. Beckett, McNamara. Good passing back to Hatch. I think they've lost possession. They have. Penrith in possession. Picking up the ball there was Broman. Now here's Penrith on the attack. A bad pass. Levy picks it up. And well, one's along the ground there to Platt. Right on halfway. Platt to Simmons. Back out to Jones. Jones turns. Still going Jones. And a good run there by Jones. Simmons. McAlpine. Sends it back to Simmons. He looks for Fenton, then out to Clay. Good passing here. Turns it eventually out to Wolf. Wolf back to Levy, and they won't stop Levy. A great try to Penrith, and they go to the lead by 3 points to 2.
Yes, it certainly was a good try, and Levy figured very prominently in it too, and so did Wolf, a very well-timed in-pass. But we'll have a look at it now as it's coming up on the replay. Full marks to Levy, the way he was able to inject. It was a switch of the pass, a long pass there from Jamie Jones. A good pass here from the centre too, as he made the break to Levy. Levy picked up Wolf, and when Wolf was able to step back inside, come to Mullane, a very well-timed pass back into fullback Mark Levy, and it'll probably look better from head on even. And here it goes again. The long pass is switched out there from Simmons. He's picked it up to Fenton. Fenton to Flay. Flay to Levy. Levy back out to Wolf. Wolf back inside there, inside Beckett. Comes to Mullane, turns it back inside to Levy, and Levy's off for a very handy position. That was a well-planned play by the Penrith side.
Okay, McAlpine now to attempt to convert that try by Levy. McAlpine moves in. Hits the post, but bounces back inside, and it's the goal. So Penrith now lead Cronulla 5 points to 2 in the big game here at Penrith Park. Here's the kick by Rogers, and it's picked up by Broman on the far side.
Scrums 5-3 to Cronulla at this stage. Penalties 6-5 to Cronulla.
Savanovic. Out to Simmons now. Here's some quick passing. It's back to McAlpine. He turns it quick passing back to Savanovic. This time it's back to Izzard. Izzard still going. He's up to Mullane. Kicks over Mullane. Going through also now is Fenton. Fenton picks the ball up. It's a try. A great try to Penrith.
A brilliant try. Oh, that's champagne football. There was some very, very clever passing, some quick passing to turn and put Izzard into the clear. I thought he was going to be looking to pick up Fenton on the outside. Here it comes back from McAlpine. McAlpine switches it across. Good pass there from Jones. And here's Izzard making the break. He gets away from Haddock. I thought he was going to look for Fenton, but Fenton looked as if he was covered anyhow. He puts the little chip over the top. And here's we've got a charge for the line. Very well judged. Very well judged. Kick, of course, a very, very favourable bounce. Burke takes Fenton in the tackle and doesn't hold him. And over the line he goes. Champagne football.
Yes, it certainly was a great try, Keith.
And it'll look good from head on too, as Zavanic gives the pass to Izzard. Izzard comes to Mullane, puts a little chip over the top, knew exactly where he was going, was impeded by Mullane. Now we see the race for the ball. You see Fenton favoured by a good bounce, and well-deserved bounce too, because when you see brilliant football like that, it's good to see the result come.
So we've got McAlpine now about to attempt to convert that try, only 3 minutes after the try scored by Levy. So the complexion of this game has changed dramatically in the last 4 or 5 minutes. It's Penrith at the moment leading by 8 points to 2, and they could go further ahead if McAlpine can convert that try by Warren Fenton. McAlpine moves in. It's not a bad kick, but it's to the side of the post. No goal. So Penrith lead Cronulla by 8 points to 2 in the big game at Penrith Park, and we've got 6 minutes left in this first half. There's the kick by Rogers. And it's taken by Jamie Jones.
We've heard a lot of reports of young Izzard coming up to today's game, and he certainly lived up to all the praise that's been heaped upon him. He was a President's Cup player with Penrith last year, and certainly as he's made the transition in great style up to this stage anyhow. He did feature in some good early play. His defence was outstanding early. Showed a clever kick over the top, showed good force and thrust there to make that initial break, and clever football to put the chip over the top.
Well, we see a series of errors there, resulting eventually in a scrum to be formed midway between the quarter and the half on Penrith's side. In goes the ball, and it's a Cronulla ball. It's back outside to Nixon. And eventually tackled with the ball is Forrest now. Back to Nixon.
I just wonder how long it's going to be before Greg Pearce switches Steve Rogers back into the lock forward spot. Rogers outstanding in that position last year in Sydney grade football, because he's able to dominate the type of game that Cronulla plays. He has to be involved in the game, and out in the centre spot, I don't think he has anywhere near the opportunities to leave his mark on the game.
Rogers with the ball, sent it back to Gardner. Still going Gardner, he looks for Forrest, he finds Forrest. He's brought down just outside the Penrith quarter. Last tackle against Cronulla. Sorensen over the quarter, and Kurt Sorensen stands in the tackle, and it's the end of 6 tackles against Cronulla. Penrith lead by 8 points to 2. Just under 6 minutes to go in this first half. There's the scrum. It's Haddock's picked the ball up. He's down the right flank, and he'll score.
What a great individual burst that was. It certainly came at a time when Cronulla desperately needed it too. And you'll see the way that Haddock is able to break away from the scrum here and scamper over from some 30 yards out. There he goes. As the scrum collapses, the ball came out very favourably for him, and he was able to clear away from McAlpine. And with Levy, of course, out of position. You'd have to say he was out of position on that occasion. And as you see, he scooped the ball up. He's got away from McMahon here. McMahon probably should have covered him, but Haddock was a little bit too slippery, and with Levy back towards the middle of the field, he was able to scoot away from McAlpine and go over in the corner.
Yes, he's certainly a nifty little halfback, isn't he?
Yes, he is. There's nothing of him. He'd have to be one of the smallest players in the on the Sydney scene. He's only 5'4" and 10 stone 10. That's in the old weights and measures, of course.
Don't ask me what that is.
If you don't ask me, I won't ask you.
Should ask your statistician. Okay, so there's the score. Now it's 8 points to 5 in favour of Penrith over Cronulla, as Rogers attempts to convert that try by Haddock. Right on the sideline. Difficult kick for Rogers. He moves in. Not a bad kick, but just to the side of the posts. And so it's Penrith 8, leading Cronulla 5, and we've got 4 minutes left in this first half in 10's big game at Penrith Park.
Successful, Penrith 8 leads Cronulla 5.
Well, it's certainly been an interesting first half, Keith.
Yes, it certainly has. It's been fluctuating. Both teams had their opportunities to put tries on the ball at various stages, getting to within inches of the line and actually getting over the line without being able to ground the ball. Then we saw those 2 great tries by Penrith, and just when they looked as if they were able to get into a position to take control, Cronulla bounced back with that brilliant individual effort from Perry Haddock.
Rick Burke on the burst now, and he's brought down by Zavanovic. Sorensen with the ball. He's endeavouring to offload, but can't do so. Round the legs is Broman, and Platts over the top. Beckett now to Sorensen. Sorensen, he's knocked it on, Kurt Sorensen, and Penrith in possession. Here's danger as Wright goes down the right flank. Turns it back to Kenny Wolf. But the referee has ruled a penalty. Penalty against Cronulla, allowing him to play the ball, and there's a chance for Penrith to add an extra 2 points. Just before we go into half-time, and Levy coming up to it. No,
yes.
He's not attempted shot
He
at
gave
goal.
the indication he was going to have a shot at goal, though, didn't he? Certainly its distance wouldn't have worried him. It was a fair way out, but obviously they're confident of reapplying pressure now to Cronulla.
Well, let's see how they go, because it's McAlpine with the ball now. Dummies, he turns it back outside to Flay. Flay gets the pass to McMahon, but McMahon knocks on, and it's picked up by Haddock, who's eventually brought down by Fenton.
They certainly created that opportunity out wide there, where McAlpine schemed to pick up a couple of runners coming back in field towards the middle of the Cronulla defence, but Rogers was out there to cover, and then of course we saw McMahon put that pass down. So it's bad when you get into a position like that on the first tackle. They've elected not to take the opportunity to kick a goal, kick for the line, and then lose the ball on the first tackle. Johnny Peard, the Penrith coach, wouldn't be too happy about that.
McNamara with the ball. Big front rower for Cronulla. Ball out to Haddock, Forrest. It's out to Mullane, and Mullane is tackled there by Wright. Last tackle, and a scrum to go down. Minute and a half to go in this first half. It's Penrith 8, Cronulla 5. 2 tries to 1 in favour of Penrith at this stage as Haddock feeds this scrum. And it's a Cronulla ball. Mullane from fullback comes in out to Forrester Rogers. Turns it back to Gardner. And Gardner is brought down well there by McMahon. It's back out now to Forrest. Burke down the right side. Forrest, Haddock. Back now to Nixon. About 5 metres out from the halfway. Beckett goes this time, and he takes play just onto the halfway mark. Sorensen. Back to McNamara. Smothered in the tackle there by Jones and Broman. To Haddock. Back to Forrest. Floats it out to Gardner. And he's upended by Wright, and that's the end of 6. And we're coming up to half-time with a scoreline of 8 points to 5 in favour of Penrith.
Scrums favouring Cronulla 7-4. Penalties 6 apiece at this stage.
Calpine feeds the scrum. It's rather a Cronulla ball, but feed across, says referee Ward against Cronulla, and a penalty to Penrith.
Just recapping, we've had trays by Mark Levy and Warren Fenton in the 29th and the 31st minutes, with a conversion by McAlpine for Penrith, and for Cronulla, Perry Haddock scored their try in the 35th minute with Steve Rogers a goal.
Right on half-time. As tap is taken, there's the up and under by Levy. This could be interesting. Elaine's under the ball, loses it. It's eventually picked up, but there's no try. No try, so we go to the half-time break with Penrith 8 leading Cronulla 5. It's the kick-off, and a couple of changes in the side. Forrest is out for Cronulla. Wright is the replacement, Gary Wright, and the hooker for Penrith. Roy Simmons is not back on in the second half, and his
Brad Waugh has taken his
over
position,
by Brad Waugh.
And that's an interesting one too, because obviously Jamie Jones now will go into the hooking spot. It'll be interesting to see if, yes, Gary Wright appears to be playing in the 5/8 spot for Cronulla. And obviously Greg Pearce looking for a little bit more variety or purpose in attack in that position.
Right on the halfway mark now, as the ball is out to Haddock. Turns it back outside to Wright, and it's eventually picked up by Mullane. He's brought down. Now it's out to Gardner. Haddock to grub a kick and attempts to find touch, but he does so. Yep.
Made a bit of a mess of that in the Cronulla side. A couple of interesting changes, actually. Brad Waugh, a player that held on a first-grade spot for a long while with Penrith. And I remember sometime last season he was able to win a Man of the Match award in the Tooth Cup series. And Gary Wright, of course, he switched from South Sydney this year. He's also a talented player and certainly well worthy of a first-grade spot. Possession of the ball going to be very important now in this second 40 minutes. As I said earlier, conditions very, very humid out there, and obviously the teams are going to be it's going to be taking toll of them towards the latter stages of the game, and it's always a lot easier, of course, when you're playing with the ball. Penrith leading 8 points to 5.
Right, penalty to Penrith, and Levy finds touch just from the Penrith side of halfway. Tap taken there by Jones. Back to Wolf, the winger. He makes little or no headway. Broman at dummy half now. Back to McAlpine. Straightens up the attack. He's through. 1-2 tackles there. He looks for Wolf. Wolf's over the halfway. And he's brought down by Haddock. Back to Waugh. On to McAlpine.
Penrith very slow to get with McAlpine there on that occasion. He was certainly left. He'd made the break up the right-hand side and got back into the play on the left, looking for supports. No one there.
Broman dummies, and he makes 1 or 2 metres. Brought down by Sorensen. Waugh, dummy half. Switches the play back from Levy out to Platts. Platts has brought it down around the legs there by McNamara. Last tackle against Penrith. It's out to Levy. He turns it back to Wolf. Wolf back to Levy. Back now to McAlpine. Dummies. Finds is back to the ball, back to War, I should say, and War is eventually brought down just outside the Cronulla quarter.
Yes, the Penrith boys certainly looking now to get into position quickly in attack, aren't they? And there was pretty good movement of the ball, injecting himself into the attack at every opportunity, and players quick to support the ball carrier on most occasions anyhow.
Cronulla win the scrum right on their own quarter. Hatch plays it to Haddock. It's back to Sorensen. Sorensen can't offload. Nicely tackled there on the top by Wright. Still in possession. With the ball is Nixon. Brought to ground. It's back to Hatch. Goes from the dummy half. Makes 3 metres. Brought down by War. Beckett. Haddock. To McNamara. Crashes his way through. Last tackle against Cronulla. Beckett just play to Rogers. Rogers looks to get the ball out to Mullane. He's well held there though by Flay, and a scrum will form just inside the Cronulla side of the halfway. We have Jones being carried from the field. So Penrith in trouble now. The losses Keith mentioned of firstly Simmons and then Jones, who moved into the hooking spot, and Simmons didn't come back on. War took his position, and we're now require another replacement. The scrum packs down just on the Cronulla side of halfway. Now Haddock about to feed the scrum. Oh, now it's down. And it's a Cronulla ball. Haddock has the open side, gets the ball out. It's eventually fed out across the back line to Wright. Wright swivels, turns up towards the halfway mark, goes right, and he's tackled right on it. It's back to Nixon. He turns it back out to Jarvie, or rather Rick Burke.
Penrith already have their replacement on, Tuza, the second-grade hooker.
Sorensen now with the ball. Dane Sorensen. As the ball is back to Haddock, out to Rogers. Back this time to Wright. It's on to Gardner. Gardner's brought down just inside Penrith territory to Rogers. He goes from the dummy half. Oh, flicks it back nicely there to Beckett. And valuable ground made as the referee signals last tackle against Cronulla. It's out to Haddock. Straightens up the attack. And he's brought down. End of 6. And a scrum will form about 10 metres out from the Penrith quarter. It's 8 points to 5 in favour of Penrith over Cronulla, and we're 7 minutes into the second half. Calpine feeds the scrum. It's a Cronulla ball. Haddock out to Wright. Still going is Wright. Oh, he's through Wright. He's over the quarter, and no, won't get Wright. He'll score. A great try by the replacement 5'8" Gary Wright.
Yes, and it was certainly a bad mistake by his opposite, Rod Wright, that enabled him to turn his career through for that particular try. We see Steve Rogers. It's a simple cross movement where he looks to switch to Rogers, but just burst through that tackle by Wright and was able to find his way to the line. It'll probably look even better from head on, but Levy on the opposite side of the field. Here's Rogers coming back infield there, and Izzard held up to take him, but the both of them grasped it right. And both Izzard and Rod Wright, of course, guilty on that occasion, and certainly a try that could possibly take Cronulla into the lead. Level the scores up at 8 points apiece with 7 minutes gone in this second half.
And the replacement hooker is Attila Tuza.
Yes, Tuza is from the second grade, and they had a great win over Cronulla in the early match, and obviously they're pretty confident that he can get them a share of possession, but certainly that's a setback to Cronulla's hopes of taking out this game, because that was a pretty easy try actually.
8 points all now as Rogers moves in to attempt to convert that try. He does so, and so Cronulla have gone to the lead by 10 points to 8 over Penrith at Penrith Park, and we're 8 minutes into the second half. There's the kick by McAlpine, taken over there on the far side by Gardner, and he's met there by Wright and brought down. 6 more tackles, says the referee, to Cronulla. Beckett plays it back now to Jarvie. Jarvie goes from the dummy half, makes 3 metres, and he's brought down. Back to Beckett. Haddock returns it back this time to Nixon. And he's met head-on by Broman. And he was hurt in that tackle by Broman. Nixon still on the ground, and referee calls time off.
The head-on's coming up, as you see. He goes in particularly heavy underneath with the shoulder, and caught him more or less underneath the chin, and then he's got plenty of support there from Moore coming in too. So he was certainly on the receiving end of a particularly jolting type tackle, but he's on his feet now, and he looks as if he's okay.
Okay, play about to resume. And the ball out to Haddock, up to Sorensen, and Kurt Sorensen is brought down there. Beckett back to Haddock. He fumbles the ball but regathers. Hatch from the dummy half up the blind side. It's the end of 6 and a scrum to form. So we're taking over the hooking spots here for Penrith. For the 3rd time in this match, we have now Attila Tusa.
Yes, and probably Cronulla, seeing what the situation is regarding the scrummaging. They didn't elect the kick on that 6th tackle, maybe testing Tusa out to see his hooking capabilities. Well, anyhow, they certainly made the right decision as they're on the receiving end of a penalty.
Rogers finds touch. Midway between the quarter and half on the Penrith side. And Beckett about to take the tap. This time it's back to Rogers. No, sorry, to McNamara.
I can't see any point in Bowman there just going in with the shoulder and not attempting to take the man. He just bounced off him, and McNamara was able to turn and unload the ball. Fortunately for Penrith, he didn't.
Hatch in possession for Cronulla, just outside the Penrith quarter. Haddock back to Sorensen. Quick passing. It's back to Rick Burke. He plays it back down the blind side to Haddock. Back to Sorensen. Still going forward, Sorensen. Oh,
he's a good player, isn't he? He's continually taking the ball up all the time, driving forward, and he's rock-like in defence, and whenever any heavy work has to be done, he's always the player there to do it.
Last tackle against Cronulla. Rogers in possession. To right, back to McNamara. He turns it back to Gardner. Quick passing. Out to Haddock. Haddock slips. Can't get the ball away, and the scrum will go down. It's 10 points to 8 in favour of Penrith.
Steve Rogers limping pretty heavily on that right foot of his. He's been limping now from midway through the first half, and he certainly hasn't played a major role in this game. When he gets the ball, he seems to be able to shake it off a little bit, but just when there's break and play or he's not involved in the game, he seems to be limping on that right leg.
It's a Cronulla ball. Quick passing to Haddock. It's on to Nixon. He's held in the tackle. Haddock back to Hatch. Right. And it's eventually to Gardner. Gardner is held in the tackle.
Good play by Wolf too, because he spotted that the danger was there, moved in very quickly then to kill the man with the ball.
Nixon brought down midway between the quarter and the goal line on Penrith side. Haddock right, cuts out Rogers. Is back to Ricky Burke, rather John Jarvie I should say. Here's a chance to Sorensen, back to his brother Kurt. He's going hard and he'll score. A good try there from Cronulla. Kurt Sorensen, the try scorer, and they go to the lead by 13 points to 8.
Yes, well, a typical Sorensen try it was, bursting onto a pass just on the edge of the ruck. He scored 2 similar tries last week against Balmain, and there just doesn't seem to be much holding this real powerhouse Cronulla second rower. Look at him, he's able to go through, just charge through with players, Penrith players falling off him. McMahon and Broman, both of them there, and here he comes again, now off his brother Dane. Dane's there all the time, he gives it away.
Rogers out to attempt another conversion. Convert this try by Sorensen. Kurt Sorensen has scored 48 tries, well now 49 with that try this afternoon.
These two Penrith centres I keep getting mixed up. I don't know who you find them, Graham.
Exactly the same way. He's missed that, Rogers.
But
he's missed that. Yes, they're very alike.
Light and play, they're very much alike, aren't they? They're built very similar and the same colouring. It's very easy to mistake them. Maybe Rod Waite is just that fraction taller.
So it's 13 points to 8 in favour of Cronulla over Penrith. 13 minutes into the second half. There's play about to resume. McAlpine kicks downfield. There to take the ball is Ricky Burke. Trying to run it out from his own quarter. He's about 2 metres out.
And the scrum possession heavily Cronulla's way now, 9-4.
Hatch with the ball. Beckett, eventually from dummy half, turns it out to McNamara. Beckett again at dummy half. Haddock, Sorensen. Pass out to Gardner, who couldn't take it, and Penrith are in possession. Picking up there was Waugh. Izzard at dummy half. McAlpine. Out to Broman. To Platts. Platts makes about 3 metres. Souza, dummy half. Broman. Back to Souza. Souza tries to straighten up the attack. Makes little or no ground.
Penrith have to lift the pace of their game now. They've got to get more drive into the players coming onto the ball, and the likes of Ivanovic. Here's a chance now coming up on the right-hand side, that they've got to get into position quickly. They've got to pressure this Cronulla side because they are trailing 13 points to 8. And if they don't, well, Cronulla can take complete control.
Well taken there by Souza. It's the last tackle against Penrith.
Penrith certainly got to give this next 10 minutes everything they've got.
To Broman. Dummies. Oh, finds Fenton coming through on the burst, but he's well tackled around the legs there by Nixon, and that's the end of 6. Scrum to form just outside the Cronulla quarter. Cronulla 13, Penrith 8. Now the scrum packs down. Haddock to feed it. Out to the bed in again. Now Ward is asking him to pack down once again. There it is. It's a Cronulla ball, and it's out this time to Nixon.
And this is certainly going to be Penrith's problem, lack of possession. Cronulla 10-4 in the scrums, and it's very, very important from here on in.
Here's David Hatch making a fine break downfield. He turns it back to Nixon, who can't hold the ball, and it's picked up by Penrith, and they in turn knock on. Series of errors there by...
yes, it certainly was. You can understand the Cronulla boys looking to unload at every opportunity to try and keep the play moving there, because there was a try on when Hatch made that break. But once Penrith got possession from the break and play, they should have ensured that they did retain it. But they've come up with the ball from the scrum.
Levy with the ball. And it's across the back line out to Fenton. And a penalty to Penrith. Penalty to Penrith, and it's not allowing Fenton to play the ball.
And of course these are correct tactics from Cronulla too. They have to slow down now the pace of the Penrith attack, and they'll be ensuring that they lay over the ball, the man in the tackle, and make sure that he doesn't get up as quickly as he'd like to. And as we see on camera now, it's a very hairline situation, of course, between the referee allowing it or condoning it.
McAlpine. Back to Broman to McAlpine. Back to Platts. Couldn't handle it. Kicked through there by McAlpine. Picked up eventually by Haddock for Cronulla. Now it's Haddock on the burst. He's still going, Haddock. Oh, he's met there by Izzard. And the ball is knocked back to Cronulla's possession. 6 more tackles.
It was a good tackle though, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Now Jarvie in possession. Back to Beckett. Back to Sorensen. Burke knocks off 1-2 attackers, defenders. He's brought down. To McNamara. Turns in the tackle. And is asked to play the ball. Sorensen. Rogers. Right, Sorensen. Long pass out to Burke. Goes inside Burke. Back to right. Then back to Gardner. Still going Gardner. Gives it to Mullane, and Mullane scoops in the ball. A bit suspect Death pass. Last tackle against Cronulla. It's back to Sorensen. And there's the end of 6. As a scrum will form just on the Penrith side of halfway. 13 points to 8 in favour of Cronulla.
And Gary Rate has certainly added a lot of sharpness to this Cronulla attack since he's come on in the second half.
Now Izzard is being called out by one of the linesmen coming in to report Izzard for an alleged offence. He's given a brief warning and a scrum will go down. 13 points to 8 still in favour of Cronulla over Penrith. 3 tries to 2 in favour of the Sharks. And it's a Penrith ball. Fenton this time. And he's eventually brought down. Zavanovic to McAlpine. Mizzard past to Levy. Oh, nearly danger for an intercept there. And nicely claimed there by Flay the ball. Penrith again on the attack. McAlpine tackled though by Zavanovic, rather Hatch. Now Broman back to Fenton.
Well, this Cronulla forward pack has knocked Penrith out of their pattern at the moment, and Broman is the player, of course, that dictates basically the trend of their game, but there's no one running off him, and he's certainly left on his own on too many occasions. They're all very bunched and completely leadless at this stage.
Well, the referee has ordered a scrum. To the end of 6 tackles, as far as he was concerned. There's the scrum, and it's like a Penrith ball. Haddock, rather, McAlpine in possession. Now, ball is out to McMahon. McAlpine, out to Platts. Izzard goes up and makes about 6 or 7 metres. Penrith starting to get into this match again. It's back to Platts, McAlpine, long floating pass, out to Flay, back inside now to Wolf. Wolf turns the pass to Tuza. Tuza is brought down, last tackle against Penrith. War at dummy half. McAlpine, it's out to Platts, back to Wolf. Wolf can't offload, and it's the end of 6. And Penrith's attack started to look a little bit tight. Right.
Yes, well, that's the type of positive attitude that they have to adopt. They were very negative there for the last 5 or 6 minutes after that Kurt Sorensen try. And that obviously shocked them. Cronulla a little bit the worse for wear. Both Gardner and Wright shaken up by a couple of heavy defensive knocks there. Another penalty kick here to Penrith, which will allow them to get deep into Cronulla's quarter line. And, you know, with only, what have we got, 15 minutes or 19 minutes into
19,
this?
I think
19 into this second half, or 19 minutes remaining. Trailing 13 points to 8. Well, they certainly have to put points on the board and put them on quickly if they are going to get back into this game.
Right, play to resume, just on the quarter mark. It's back now to War. Goes hard, War, and makes good ground. 5 or 6 metres up towards the Cronulla goal mouth. Tuza to Broman, to McAlpine, back to Zavanovic. McAlpine at dummy half, and there's a penalty here to Penrith. And it's against Kurt Sorensen, allowing him to play the ball right in front. And here's what should be 2 easy points for McAlpine to reduce the deficit. They trail by 13 points to 8.
The scrum's favouring Cronulla 10-7 at this stage. Penalties Penrith way 11-7. And they've received 4 penalties to 0 in the second half.
Right, McAlpine moves in. There it is, makes no mistake about it. And so Cronulla lead by 13 points to 10. Here at Penrith Park in 10's big game.
A successful penalty goal by Craig McAlpine.
As the kick-off by Rogers. Deep into Penrith territory, eventually picked up by Levy. Tries to run it out. Up to the quarter mark he goes, and he's brought down by Sorensen and Rogers. Tusa at dummy half. Zavanovic. Tusa now. McAlpine. Izzard. Izzard goes, he's through. Izzard making valuable ground. Izzard up towards the halfway mark. Tusa, McAlpine. Broman. Oh, gets the pass out to Flay, but he knocks it on. Awkward pass it was too. And so a scrum to pack down. Now the linesman in to report another player. And who was he called out? He was called out.
Nixon is receiving a caution. I didn't pick up anything in the general play.
Well, it was a brief one, Keith, as this scrum about to pack down once more. Fed by McAlpine, and it looks like being a Penrith ball it is.
Well, obviously the referee blown his whistle, and Wolf knew, because certainly he looked as if he was shell-shocked when McAlpine threw him the ball.
Right, now the scrum being back down once again in field, and it's a Cronulla ball. A lapsing scrum. Okay, out to Nixon. He's met there by Fenton and Izzard. It's back now to Hatch, or rather the winger John Jarvie. Right, it's back to Haddock, out to Mullane. Burke from the dummy half. Up towards the quarter. He's met by Fenton and also Platts. Beckett. Back to Haddock. Back to Haddock again from right. Oh, a heavy tackle there. Or he met Brayman head on again.
He's certainly come in for his share of attention, and
it's the end of 6.
Of course, he's so short, it's very difficult to tackle him low, anything but ball and all. And of course, invariably, you're up around his head and shoulders, like in that situation there.
Another ball.
Fortunately for him, he's pretty tough.
Wrights now with the ball, up towards the quarter. He's having a good game, Wright.
He certainly made a difference to this Cronulla attack.
From the dummy half, Gardner, back to Sorensen. He's met there by Zavanovic, around the legs.
He's really explosive when he chimes into the attack, though.
It's McNamara. Inside the Penrith quarter. Haddock. Dummies, steps back inside, still going Haddock. Last tackle against Cronulla as the ball is fed out across the back line. Out to Wright, back to Sorensen. Sorensen finds Wright again. Still going Wright. Dummies, straightens. And there's the end of 6. 13 points to 10 in favour of Cronulla over Penrith, and we've got just over 13 minutes left in this first half as the scrum about to form. Midway between in the second half, I should say. And it's a Penrith ball. Penrith on the attack now. Izzard. Wolf at dummy half. Makes about 3 metres up towards the quarter. McAlpine. Broman going for the kick. A bad kick. No, it's just out on the full. Play recalled and a scrum to go down just inside the Penrith quarter.
I'm disappointed in Lou Platts this afternoon. I was looking for a lot more injection into the attack from this big, powerful player that came from Parramatta last year, and I should imagine that Johnny Peard would be disappointed also, because he hasn't projected himself into the attack anywhere near as much as you would expect from a player of his ability.
It's a Penrith ball. McAlpine gets the pass back to Fenton. Fenton has just held on the foot there.
Certainly the same can't be said about Fenton, because he's looking to get into it at every opportunity.
Levy this time. Smothered by 2 of the Cronulla players. As it's back to McAlpine. Turns, still going McAlpine. Tries to get the pass away, and it's lost the ball. Picked up by Hatch for Cronulla. Right, dummy half. To McNamara. Out to Burke. Beckett. To Haddock. Back inside to Sorensen. Oh, over the shoulder there. Back to Nixon. Haddock. To cross the line. It's out to Rogers. Oh, he tries to give it to Gardner. Gardner fumbles, knocks on, and a scrum will go down. So it's still 13 points to 10 in favour of Cronulla.
And Cronulla making a few changes here with Robert Lane, the ex-Eastern Suburbs halfback, coming on, replacing Perry Haddock. And Steve Hardy, the ex-Australian schoolboy captain, number 22, coming onto the field. And also we've seen McAlpine replaced by Des Hasler for Cronulla, for Penrith.
Hasler for McAlpine. And there's a penalty to Cronulla. Restart of play now. So Sorensen goes hard, still going Sorensen. Offloads well, back to McNamara. Lane in for Perry Haddock, as Pete mentioned. And Hardy in for Hatch. Cronulla still on the attack. Back now to Beckett. He goes hard for the line. He's brought down about a metre out. Chance here for Cronulla. Back now to... quite a few changes here. Hardy for Hatch, is it? Rogers turns the ball out to Gardner, but he's knocked it on.
A little bit scrappy by Cronulla at the moment, and obviously this could be expected by the number of replacements that they've made. It's been a pretty torrid game, and the players that have been replaced certainly came in for their fair share of punishment, particularly young Haddock, but he stood up pretty well, and he had a very satisfying performance.
Right, Hasler feeds the scrum. It's a Cronulla ball. It's back to Lane. Or I should say Hardy.
Hardy's an interesting player too. Nixon, yes, Hardy. He's an interesting player, only a youngster. And certainly glowing reports from the Cronulla camp.
Right, here's Rogers on the attack now. He's had a quiet day, hasn't he, Keith?
Yes, he has, but I think he's been carrying a leg injury for much of the game. And he certainly doesn't have the opportunity of getting into the game out in the centre spot. He's still limping very heavily now.
Right, across field it goes now, out to McNamara. Tries to get the pass away, can't do so. Back to Burke. He turns it back out to Hardy. And there's the end of 6.
A lot of quality in these Cronulla replacements. Young Lane, of course, is a player that has a big reputation. And as I said, similarly Hardy. But possession of the ball now, and Penrith making another change. Brad Waugh is off, with Steve Martin coming on. Now, Martin is a prolific try scorer, a player that's played a host of positions with the Penrith club, going from the hooking spot back to lock and even out into the 5/8 spot in the last couple of years. And certainly a try at this stage of the game would really set these Penrith Panthers and the fans alive.
Well, is a chance here for Cronulla. Really danger there for Penrith as...
yes, well, I think once Rogers knocked the ball down, of course, I think it would have been pulled up. But Penrith off the hook now, and caught an extra 10 metres for back chatting. And Levy would love to get fine touch up around the halfway mark.
Levy finds touch. Martin to take the tap. Now the ball's out to Broman.
But only one runner, Zavanovic. He's worked his insides out there this afternoon, both in attack and defence.
Back out now to Zavanovic, as you mentioned. Martin at dummy half. This fielder goes to Flay, back to Platts, back to Flay. Chance here for Penrith. Good run upfield by Martin.
Martin, yes, he certainly had the fans on their feet straight away.
Okay, here's Hasler with the ball now. Last tackle against Penrith. Touza at dummy half. Broman. Long pass out to Levy. Levy turns it back inside to Martin. And Martin is eventually brought down. Time fast running out for Penrith. They trail Cronulla by 13 points to 10. And we've just got over 6 minutes left of play in this match at Penrith Park.
And of course, at this stage, the experience of someone like Mark Levy is going to come to the fore, because trailing 13 points to 10, he has to inject himself into the play now at every opportunity and throw caution to the wind as far as position of the play is concerned.
Here's Ivanovic now. He turns it back to Platts. Platts looks to offload, but there's nobody there.
No, but they've got plenty of depth in attack here, and if they're prepared to turn and spin the ball over wide, they have a chance.
Broman now. Oh, well picked up by Flay. Just inside the Cronulla side of the quarter. Has himself Flay. And he makes another 3 or 4 metres. Penrith on the attack. It's out to Levy. Broman turns it back to Hasler. Hasler tries to get the ball away. Back to Platts. Last tackle against Penrith.
We could see the bomb here from Levy.
Back to Levy. Back to Touza. He can't get it away. It's the end of 6.
Well, possibly the bomb was on, but the Cronulla defence, well organised, got into position quickly, covered the gaps, and they got up pretty quickly and left Levy little chance of putting that bomb up.
Rob Lane leads the scrum.
Gee, this will be a big scrum for Penrith to win.
And it's a Penrith to Penrith. It's a penalty to Penrith. A penalty to Penrith.
Yes, hands in the scrum, that was the ruling, and another differential penalty. Probably not a great deal of advantage kicking for the line, because they're in a good position here, 10 yards out, and attack either side of the field.
Platts
just going up on his own, no support, and going up half pace. That'll never crack this Cronulla defence. They've got to come onto the ball, and they've got to come onto it hard. Man, he's a big chance.
Touza, Hasler, back to Ivanovic. Hasler turns, gets the ball away nicely there to
Steve Martin, the replacement player.
Touza, ball out to Hasler, still going, back to Touza, Broman, back to Flay, there's a chance, quick passing here to Ivanovic. Oh, he's smothered in the tackle there by the Cronulla defence.
A bit lucky too that Izzard wasn't penalised for shepherding.
Ivanovic gets the ball back to Flay, and he's brought down.
Gee, only just
metre and a half out. Last tackle. Can Penrith go in? To Broman, long wide throw, back to Izzard, knocks it on, and he's picked it up by Fenton, but the referee will rule no try, knock on, says referee Ward, and rightly so.
Yes, it was a good looping cut-out pass from Broman too, and it's one of the few mistakes that Izzard has made in the game. It would have been a dangerous situation if he hadn't been able to hold on to that pass, but he was under a lot of pressure from the Cronulla defence that spotted the danger and moved up very quickly. So possession again important, Graham.
Certainly is, and Penrith have won this scrum. Hasler. Back out now to Levy. Turns it back to Platts. Platts still going. Over the top to Hasler. Picks it up well, but he slips.
I was looking for the McMahon, the winger. He'd come over across into the centres because the gap was up on that side of the field.
He's a metre short. Penrith right on the attack here. Hasler dummy half. To Broman. Tries to crash his way over, but can't do so. Last tackle against Penrith.
And we went well into the last 5 minutes.
Touza at dummy half. Back to Hasler. He turns it out to Savanovic, will he go
in.
over?
He's got to be in.
It's a try.
No, he's been held up over the line, unable to ground the ball. Well, that's disappointing as far as the Penrith Panthers are concerned, because they schemed well there to try and get Savanovic in on that right-hand side, and he stepped inside one Cronulla player and was able to get over the line, but then unfortunately couldn't force the ball.
So Cronulla live again. It's 13 points to 10 in favour of Cronulla. There it is.
Dane Sorensen underneath, and
Penalty.
McNamara over the top.
Yes, a penalty there to Penrith. Incorrect feed against Lane, and so they take the tap here. Penrith hopes live again. Izzard this time. He's down 10 metres out from the line. Back now to play. Turns it back to McMahon. McMahon, he's still going, McMahon. Still going! But he's got the corner post over, no try.
Oh, dear.
Action aplenty here at Penrith Park.
There certainly is action aplenty, and of course you're looking at a bloke like McMahon, who's relatively fresh, being out on the wing, and he certainly injected himself into the attack at the right time. But here he is going for the line, and some good covering defence, wasn't it? And just taken into touch. And Roland Beckett, I think, was the player that came in for that last-ditch effort.
So Cronulla in possession.
I tell you what, they're going to make it very difficult too for Penrith now to get possession in these dying stages.
Okay, Cronulla on the attack now as Hatch takes play up towards the halfway mark. Beckett now. It's out to Jarvie, and played just about right on the halfway mark. Lane back inside to Gardner. Gardner, he finds Lane again. Still going. Last tackle against Cronulla. Time running out for Penrith. They trail by 3 points. And Hardy in possession, and there's the end of 6. There it is, full time at Penrith Park. And Cronulla have defeated Penrith by 13 points to 10. And I'll be back in the dressing rooms with the man of the match right after this break.